Hello, good morning. Good morning, please. Well, today, this morning, we have the honor of a visit, a presentation by Dr. Héctor Izquierdo, who is the Commissioner for the Reconstruction of the island of La Palma for the Spanish government after the volcano eruption in 2021. He is a very complete personality because he has been a high-ranking politician in the Spanish government. He has been the Secretary of State for the Treasury of the Spanish government and also the President of the Tax Agency of the Spanish government. And he has also worked in La Palma. He's from La Palma. He's from this city, from Los Llanos. And he has long experience in the private firms as well. He has worked in more than 20 countries in multinationals. And he's also an academic. He also has a PhD and he has published important articles. And he's the director of a school for intelligence economics in the University of Madrid. So he has a very broad background and expertise, and it's a great honor for us to have him today to discuss the issues of the reconstruction of La Palma and the challenges ahead in the next years. And we hope to have a great discussion with him of the ideas we are putting forward in our planning and his feedback for our prospects in the next couple of days. And also, this is expected to have continuity in the next years, a laboratory for sustainability in La Palma. Thank you very much, Dr. Izquierdo.
Thank you very much. The honor is mine. The honor is mine. I'm very proud to be here and to share this moment with you and to listen ideas, because now we are in a very important moment for La Palma. This is the moment to change. This will be something like the break-even point, because I have the feeling that La Palma was not good before the volcano. Now it's worse, obviously, because it has been a natural, terrible disaster. But this is an opportunity for us. This was one of the motivation for me to ask for this position, because I was born here in Los Llanos, and even that I'm living in Madrid from the 18 years when I went to study at the university in Madrid. But my parents are living here. My sister was living here in Puerto Nao. You know Puerto Nao, the area where I have the problem with the gas. And I have a house there. To be honest, this house for me is just for Christmas, Easter, summer. But I mean, this is my land, and this is the opportunity to change many things that, in my opinion, we can do quite better. And I appreciate the invitation, and really, I think that's a very good opportunity to share the know-how, the knowledge from people from other countries with great CV, with great background. So here, for me, it's more important listen to your ideas in order to implement. For me, nothing else. This is from the Financial Times. But here, what is the most important is just to cut the photo in your front. Yes, you are losing your hair, so I recommend, because it's the good idea. So tell me ideas. This is the presentation, but we started talking about the geothermal, and now if we can, and then we will go back here. So here there are different challenges that I think that we can do in La Palma. But tell me, for example, about geothermal. That is one option. No? We will share information, but it is important for me that you explain to me your ideas. Geothermal, advantages and disadvantages. I need a volunteer, so please come here. We will use the whiteboard. It's interesting that you can write good points and bad points, advantages and disadvantages about geothermal. I'll tell you first at the beginning what we are doing from the Spanish government. We are investing 24 million, just to 30 million, sorry, 30 million. Why 30 million? 30 million euros, because we need to drill in 3 areas, okay? I mean, this investment is 50% will pay from the government, and 50% will pay from private companies. So this means that 30 million from the Spanish government plus another 30 million from private companies means an investment of 60 million. In order to analyze if we have geothermal opportunities, we have to drill in one place 3 different areas. Each hole costs 8 million, 8, and then in this area we can check if this geothermal with, that will be economically profitable or will be interesting to invest. It means that 24. So more or less we can choose 3 places in La Palma in order to test if they are geothermal or not, energy or not. The probability when you drill, according with our research, is between 66 and 68%. That is very interesting. But on the other hand, you can invest 24 millions and not to find nothing at all and to lose the money. In oil and gas, maybe you know, that is something that we use what is called farming and farm out. Anybody know what is farming and farm out? Farming and farm out is that in oil and gas, your probability, the probability that you need to have in order to make the investment is between 15 and 18%. It is higher than 15 or 18%, you drill, okay? It's quite low. In order to diversify this risk, what you make is just to invest in different projects. For example, I remember when I was in Philippines, we have a project in Palawan with more or less this range. So what naturally, it was a company that was working in the past, we shared shares of the project with another 5 companies. Something like Petrogas, with Texaco, with another E.ON, and other companies that they were in the same market. So you invest in more or less 5 or 6 projects. Farm out is that you sell to another company. Farming is that you attract company to your project. If you invest in 6 projects and each project have a probability of successful of 18%, mathematically at least one of them will be successful. If one of them is successful, you will earn enough money to pay this project and the other 5 projects that has been losing. So here the probability is very high. The problem is that there are not many projects in other areas of the world in order to diversify the risk. So you invest all the money in this project. You diversify 50% Spanish government, 50% private company. When I say private company, I mean big companies. I mean something like Endesa or Repsol, or even this joint venture between the Cabildo with smaller local companies. Okay, so the winner of the project will try to make this project. So go back. Advantages and disadvantages. Why to invest? I see. Why to invest in geothermal in La Palma? Which do you think that will be the problem that we can find? Ideas?
The dynamics, you say the dynamics within the earth in La Palma does not allow for instance, for the wells to remain intact. Because as it is a hot point, there is no fixed point of the heat. And so that's one.
Okay. What else? Another point.
Risks, the risks of earthquakes or similar risks, and the potential water intensity of it.
Exactly. This is something that we talked before, because we are living in a, well, you know now, every 30 years, more or less, this is a volcano, and it means that will become earthquake and something that in the future. This is the third volcano that my parents have suffered. So every 30 years, more or less, we have one. So probably it will be, I don't know, 90%, that maybe between, I don't know, 2040, 2050, 2060, in this range, we will have another volcano.
On the positive side, it's baseline energy, so it's 7 by 24 energy.
Great. This is very, very, very important. Look here, you have, I have this one. This is 24 hours every day. It doesn't matter if it is windy the day or this is sunny or not. And this is very important in an island because we have not connection with another island. We have the energy that we make in La Palma, we create in La Palma, is energy that we didn't consume. I mean, this is not any connection with Tenerife, for example. So even that we have a wind power plant, most of the day they are stopped. Because you can't, I mean, the energy that we use in La Palma came mainly from fuel oil. Fuel oil is not the environment better solution, no? So this is quite good. So we can maintain, this is for example from Azores. San Miguel is an island more or less like La Palma, have the same size in Azores. The difference is that they live, in this island, 130,000 people. In La Palma, you know that we are about 80,000. So almost the double of the population, they have this number. It means that in La Palma, we can have an island that will be 100% renewable. And what can we do with this extra energy? Imagine that we are lucky, 66%, it's a good investment. It's better than to go to the casino, to play the casino. And we diversify public and private money. Imagine that will be successful. What can we do with this extra energy? We cover our necessities, we can export, we can import, and we can export. What can we do?
Desalination.
Good. What else? What else? What?
Green hydrogen.
Good.
I would like to mention two of the prior problems for me that I see in geothermal. Well, the word that I was looking for is geomechanics of the island.
Okay.
I think it doesn't allow to drill a stable well for a long time. And also, this 66% of return of investment, if you compare with oil and gas, I think it's not a proper comparison because oil and gas, the return of investment is way faster. Like you drill a hole, you drill a well and you extract oil and you just open the faucet and this is money.
Exactly, it's immediately. Here you need time to make the construction. There will be 2-3 years in order to start to have the profit. That's right. The internal rate return here is higher than 25%. I mean, to have the investment, what is great. In Spain, we have this example with the wind energies in the 2008, and maybe was too high. Have problem with the Spanish because it was too attractive investment. But here, in a natural way, we will have, without any extra help from the government, you will have great internal rate return. What else? Tell me advantages of the geothermal. Okay, you generate energy, great. What else?
I think they say that already water intensive. You have to use water in those plants.
Yes, this is a point that is very important. You need to use water. You don't lose the water if you want. I mean, this is a cycle that you can use the water. I mean, the water boil, move the turbine, and go back. Or you can do, something that you can do is you use this extra energy to make something. It's not in a photo, but you know in Iceland, the Blue Lagoon. You know what the Blue Lagoon is? What is the Blue Lagoon? Tell me.
It's very with thermal water that you can sell to tourists, bathe, be in the pool.
Exactly. And do you know where this? Probably you know any photo of the Blue Lagoon because they have a really nice blue color. And you know where the water of this spa came? This spa came from this plant. I mean, this is the extra water. In Iceland, you don't have problems, so you don't need a problem of lack of water, so you don't need to enter this water again in the process. And this extra water goes to an artificial swimming pool that is now the most touristical place in Iceland. People go to swim there, and it's great. So it's generating what we are generating with this kind of strategy. Not only energy, but tourists. No? And tourists. And what kind of tourist is this one? Do you think that is profitable? I mean, people that pay to go to a thermal, this is the most profitable kind of business, of tourism. Because, question, which kind of tourist do you want to have in La Palma? Because it's the main industry. Yes? What else? Which one?
High dollars per day.
High dollar project, exactly. People with money. This is
But not only. I think that's what we're trying. I think that the traditional model, we just bring money. But we want to bring also like quality tourism that sort of doesn't just take up or extracts from the island, but also is sustainable.
Exactly.
Not just bringing dollars to it.
Exactly. Not only money, but also yes, another kind of. This is very important to define the profile of the kind of tourists that we want to have here, because there's not many opportunities. Now we are the moment that we are designing or painting with the kind of tourists that we want to have in La Palma. This, for example, in Iceland, now one of the main industry is the exportation of the aluminium, but they don't have the raw material necessary, what is called bauxita, in Iceland. So why? How is possible that one of the main percentage of the GDP of Iceland came from aluminium? Why is they are making aluminium in Iceland when they don't have bauxita? They have to import the bauxita from Brazil. Why? Why do you think that? Exactly. They have extra energy and they say, great, I bring the bauxita, I produce the aluminium, I'm not in the European Union, but I have good relationship with another country for the European Union, and I sell the aluminium. And now it has increased a lot in the GDP. In Spain, we have something similar. You know that we are working from the government. That is in Extremadura. Extremadura is an area traditionally not the richest areas in Spain. It's not like Catalonia or the Basque Country. And we have invested a lot in sun energy, and they are doing, we are helping to make industry of diamonds. Why diamonds in Extremadura? Imagine Extremadura is an area that, as the name says, Extrema and Dura is something that is nice, not nice. It's something like a kind of, I mean, not good conditions, and now it will became something that. Why diamonds? What we are doing diamonds in Extremadura? What do you think?
Extremadura, they have nuclear energy, no?
Exactly. They have sun energy, a lot. It's something like a kind of desert, but with the sun energy, now it's very cheap, and the energy of the not production of the diamond. I mean, what we do or what we want to do is just to cut the diamonds in order to create. I mean, to use the stone and to produce diamonds, and this energy is the same. This business is the same that it happened with the aluminium. I mean, it's a very electrical intensive industry. So it will be another possibility, another good point, something like, okay, this extra energy we can use to develop in another business.
What about I mean, this is a very manageable source of energy because
yes.
of the stability
Yes.
in order to provide also stability to the electric grid.
Exactly. You can use with another like wind energies, no, with sun energy. Exactly, to cover because exactly this is the stable that is very important. That is a problem that happened in El Hierro. You know, El Hierro is another island. It's a smaller one that is in the southwest, and they have a good production of wind energies, but they need to compensate with the peak with another energy. In this case, with hydraulic energy. So you have to share with another one to cover with the geothermal. This stability is great, and this goes to the. So there are quite advantages and any disadvantages, of course. No, one of them now the most important is we are lucky to have when we drill to find geothermal energy. Another thing, for example, about tourists. Tell me about which kind of tourists we want to have. This is a different challenge. Which kind of tourists? We talk about people that make money, but at the same time that they are very nice commitment with the environment. which kind of tourists we can attract to La Palma. By the way, the name of Cabeza de Vaca, you know the name of the volcano? There are like two names. One of them is Tajogaite, what is a local name, the name of a plant, and the other one is Cabeza de Vaca. You know Cabeza de Vaca? Cabeza de Vaca was a conquistador. He went to the state with Coronado, he went to South America to discover Iguazu, and he came back as a hero 500 years ago. And the king of Spain in this time, what was Philip II, said, okay, you are a hero, you have conquered a lot for Spain, what do you want to do to retire? And he had illness with the skin, and he decided to retire in La Palma. Why in La Palma? Because it was thermal water, what is called from Fuente Santa, and it was a way to come to La Palma. And this is interesting because in order to sell the product outside, you can say, okay, somebody that he was a hero, he discovered areas in the North America, and he can go wherever he wants, in the biggest empire in this time in the world, and he decided to go to La Palma. So it's maybe the kind of tourists that they want to have. But what else? These are here like 3 different examples that we are working. One of them is more about golf. This is in La Breña. This is not far from Puerto Nao, in La Bombilla. This is in Las Ollas. This is more focused in scuba diving. And this is a project that is in Fuencaliente about thermal tourism. Advantages, disadvantages, what is important of the water.
When you start developing these sort of technologies, which are sort of new, you start becoming like a hub for this kind of technology, so you attract people with interest on research on this kind of tourism.
Exactly.
Maybe so the building of a know-how that also maybe it's a positive point for you.
Exactly, great. Tell me, ideas. I need your knowledge in order to make the implementation of these ideas this is the moment. I mean, honestly, tell me ideas that we can do in La Palma to improve La Palma, because you have a different point of view, and now you know the island, and very complementary idea. What you can do? These are the areas that we are working now: golf, scuba diving, and thermal tourism. What else?
We discussed a lot about having specialized education courses that leverage these resources. So a specialist course on volcanology, special kind of geology, special kind of marine sciences, astrophysics, so like postgraduate kind of courses. And then also to test that out, we spoke about foreign exchange students. Yes. So people come here for a semester to learn about this. So you're promoting tourism, but also a very scientific kind of...
Great. This is a very important idea, and this is something that we want to do. Look, this is something like, where do we have this? You know, we have a problem of with the student, with the young people. The unemployment rate is very high in La Palma. We lose the talent. Young people decided, I'm not an example to say this because I decided to go to live abroad. There are not universities studies here, only enfermería, nursery, no? Nursery is the only thing that you can study in the university. Something funny, the students of nursery in La Palma, they are not from La Palma. It's a smaller percentage. On the other hand, is the university, the area, the student, where they stayed in the island when they finished their studies. They came from another island, they came from the mainland, and when they finished the university, they decided to live in La Palma. It means that people of La Palma, they want to go out. They want to, it's normal, I mean, when you are 18 years old, you want to visit, and it's nice, but what you have to do is to attract talent. Okay, but what kind of talent? Maybe this kind of talent. I mean, the idea, and we are working in this area, is to become La Palma in a kind of, according with the University of La Laguna, University of Las Palmas, something like a kind of campus of science. But science related with the good point that they have the La Palma. I mean, something related with astrophysics, and to make a master of astrophysics in La Palma, something that could be blended online physically, so in a way to attract a student to La Palma. It means sky or space. The same with land, to make a study of geothermal, geotourism. This is a bed laboratory area. This is a project that to create a center, a national center of volcanology. We are fighting to be in La Palma to create something that will be the reference. And the same with the sea. So you have the sea because we are in we're in the ocean. Probably you have many other guys that came to talk about the probability, the possibilities of the ocean, and to make money and to create. We are working to create a sandbox regulatory. What is a sandbox?
Testing environment.
Okay. You have here in Spain. We have 2 sandboxes regulatory. Sandbox, the place where a kid play in the garden, where you can create different things. One is about cryptocurrency. I don't know if this is the word. Yes, this is more in the cloud. In Spain, we only have 2. The other is about the creation of battery for electrical cars, and this will be the third and the first really about science. And the idea is to do in the area of Tasacorte, and in this area is something like free, and we can create as a sandbox project to make money. Something like energy, something like desalinization of the water, and to use this water in order to use for many purposes. And the same like, for example, to sink a boat in order to attract scuba diving tourists and to make money. That was one of the examples. What else? What else we can do? For example, infrastructure. This is have you seen the motorway that we have in La Palma? Over the volcano. Look, I show you this one. This is one motorway that we have down in between Tasacorte and Puerto Nao. If you haven't not gone yet, you know it. No? It's very interesting. It has down over the lava flows. You know that in the state, it was in Hawaii, in the big island, that is the idea of to create a kind of island of the science. They make a motorway, something like that, but it was not successful due to the heat, the warmth due to the volcano, the Kilauea, the lava flow of the Kilauea. But we did it. And we have this motorway that is working now. This another project here, if you see, I put a pause, is to make a motorway from El Remo to Fuencaliente. The Spanish government has paid 176 million. Now this is the moment to make the project, and there are different companies that they are making the project. Once we decided, or in this case, the money came from the Spanish government, but the process will be done by the government of the Canary Islands, decided which will be the project winner. There will be another process to decide which company is going to build the connection between these 2 points.
Can I say something about the...
Yes, please.
I don't know if you prefer...
Yes, sure. No, the idea is just to share knowledge, so please.
No, just because when you say the potential for the island of science, I firstly think of how our universities perform.
Yes.
We have a very rigid institutions that they supply so far mostly kind of master degrees and so on. And I see that maybe it's not so interesting to supply in La Palma something like a master degree and so on, but other more flexible, more, short time type of, and then you have the problem with but you have these universities. So the idea is sometimes, my opinion, no? It's not a problem of define many ideas, but identify 2, 3, 4 with a high capacity to take to pull from other processes.
Exactly.
And then to analyze all the problems, all the factors that can prevent the development of these ideas. On the other side, when you say, for example, the potential for geothermal, and you present 2, 3 projects, if I think of the reaction of local people, I can say, well, in that picture, where is me? I mean, which is my opportunity there? How local people is going to take advantage, really, of those projects? And I think that is much more important than just to define media. I know with your vision of the world, you can imagine maybe not 3, 4, but 20 different projects.
Yes.
But the idea is which ones and in which conditions these projects are not going to be your project, but La Palma people projects, that they have to appropriate and make these projects
exactly. I agree absolutely with you.
Projects.
I agree absolutely with you. Here the idea is, yes, it's something like you see the movie Inception, this with Leonardo DiCaprio. Something this, the idea is that the idea came from the people, no? We have to create something that people think that they are their project, no? Or the project came from the people. Because if not, it will be so difficult, and I agree with you, there will be people that are against the project, or they don't have the feeling that this investment will be profitable for them, no? And even people can say, okay, I don't have money to pay my house, or I don't have money to pay whatever, or I don't have a job, and we are spending money on our project, where I don't feel that will be now the most important. That's right. This is an important challenge, to have the commitment of the people and to achieve that the ideas came from their necessity. At the same time, to explain sometimes where the money came from. For example, this money to make this motorway or tunnel or whatever will be the construction doesn't come from the money of the reconstruction of La Palma. It came from another side with this money that is called Convenio de Carretera. That is an amount of money that it came from the Spanish government to build motorways in La Palma. So here the opportunity cost is to use this money in La Palma or in another island. I mean, Fuerteventura or Lanzarote. So people realize that, hey, they are not taking money from another project, they are taking money from, just in case, from another island. The pressure will be slower, or will be interesting, because it's not only the construction, but also is this something like this here is we are in this here. There are like 3 different steps in the reconstruction. The first step, this one, is where we're more or less in this area, approximately. Here is the volcano. The volcano is still alive in Portonao La Bombilla because we have the gases, but in other areas it have ended, fortunately, 1.5 years ago, and we are spending money in order to maintain people, no? To build houses, to pay money to compensate the salaries that they are not have now, in a way to compensate, to maintain people. Here is something like the bridge. In the bridges to invest money. It's something like, the Plan Marshall, or when there was, from Keynes' point of view, when there was a New Deal, you need to invest sometimes in public infrastructure in order to put money in the island. This is one way. Another way is to decrease the taxes in order to create money in the island. Another way is to make employees plan. We have invested 93 millions in La Palma, and another 30 or amount, I don't know to say exactly the amount, but will be another important amount next year. This is the area. So sometimes with investment, with public investment, what you are doing is to creating employees, work, and at the same time to give money. No? And this will be the last step that it will be most in the future about which kind of project or which kind of island, and this kind of island will be enough profitable in order to create money and to be sustainable without the help of the Spanish government. I mean, that will be enough to carry on working. Tell me, what else of the project? For example, one problem that we have here is the connection. Why is important our geographically, geopolitical and geostrategic position in La Palma? This is an advantage, disadvantages? What do you think?
Nowadays,
What we can do with the nowadays or in the future, in the short term or in the medium term?
Because you are like a step between South America, Africa, and maybe Spain.
And why this is important? Where is the money? Where is the opportunity? We can share points here from the geo-localization, and to discuss.
But let's bring the idea because it's not clear yet.
Okay.
I think in the possibility for trading, but I'm not sure like which specific type of product, but yeah, or perhaps the flights just could go, because I flew from Medellin to Madrid and then to Canary. I was like, the plane should just land in Canary and leave me here. Well, I mean, this is kind of silly, but
Yes, it could be a kind of hub, for example, for airplanes and for investment to the north of Africa. I mean, these are the two continents that will increase more in the next 30, 40 years old. South America and Africa. I don't know if South America, maybe the focus will be more in Asia and in China will be the influence, but however, it will invest more and the connection will be very important. And of course, Africa is the future. So La Palma, or as a part of the Canary Islands, have this opportunity to make money for this opportunity. One will be something like a kind of hub, for example, with the transportation. What else? What else can we do with this position? For example, security. Is important the security for people when they decided to invest in Africa? Or to invest in a country that geographically speaking we are in Africa, but you know this is like Europe. I mean, it's security places, legislation, currency, health. It's like we are in Europe. What else? For example, for the companies, for a company to invest. Will you imagine like something like Florida? I remember Florida as an area where we decided. When I was working in Unión Fenosa, Florida was our headquarters from South America. At the same time, look, Florida is another city, another place in the state that is important to attract. Which kind of tourists go to Florida?
The worst ones.
All people, no? Retired people, no? It could be, well, this is something that is happening now in La Palma. I mean, the people are, the age of the people is old.
Also Florida, we're using Florida as a framework, is one of the worst in terms of sustainable development and how it has developed.
Exactly.
And tourism has a big component to how it developed in a really unsustainable way.
Exactly. We don't need to copy because it's not a successful model to do in the Canaries. This is a reality that the population in Europe is increasing. I mean, the evolution of the population here, we can see, and it happened the same in the Canaries. Look, this is the evolution of the.
So just to add to it, I think it is precisely because it's been catering to specifically, this type of tourism that maybe has high potential for dollars, but wants like mobility to be in cars only and in the cities, designed to go to cars. Even if you're walking, you can't like access the McDonald's or the Starbucks.
Exactly.
You need to go with your car. So I think these are like also negative side effects of just catering to a specific high dollar paying tourism.
I agree with you. This is a model I don't like it. But I recognize that Spain probably in the future will become like Florida of the European Union due to the evolution of the population and due to the evolution of the age of the European population. And it became that, for example, the east of Spain, something like Valencia, became a kind of like big Benidorm, and this is not the example that I would like to have in La Palma. So that will be an opportunity, but at the same time is a kind of risk about to define. So this is what I said at the beginning, that it's important to define which kind of tourists we want to have in La Palma, because finally it will be the main industry in La Palma maybe in the future. The agriculture is good, it's great, but the developed agriculture is what we can do in a small island. So there's not plenty of opportunities to grow up. No? So here with the population, this is something what is the average 2 years ago, between 50 and 54 years old. I mean, it's old, and this is increasing a lot. The evolution of the population even is decreasing. It maintained because they are immigrants from maybe South America, Cuba, Venezuela, that they came for political reasons, mainly financial crisis. They came from La Palma, and it compensates the population that is decreasing in La Palma. At the same time, we have the problem of the productivity. I mean, the productivity in La Palma is something that we have to improve a lot. The GDP of La Palma is tend to remain more or less steady. They have decreased due to the COVID, but this is more something extraordinary. But it maintained, and if in the bottom line you see according with the European Union, the convergence will be 100% in the top. This is the Canaries. The Canaries is decreasing, and this is La Palma. More or less have a behavior more or less similar to the Canaries. It has reduced the gap with the Canary Island, but it is decreasing. I mean, we have to increase the productivity. How to increase the productivity in order to be a very competitive island, and in order to attract people and to make a nice place to live. No? What else? Tell me. What else? What are ideas we can do to?
Well, another idea that we've been talking a lot, and it's very related to what you're showing here, is to look at indicators beyond Producto Interno Bruto, like GDP, because they don't necessarily tie to the well-being of a place. Do you have any thoughts about that? Because it just seems like everything is very focused on profit, which profits are good, but tying it to the comment that was made earlier, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to trickle down, like this trickle-down economics type of mentality. Exactly. That like, yeah, if we have this big margins, everybody's going to be fine. But if all of these investments are made by private companies, they're going to want to extract this, and then at the end of the day, you're not really going to have like a well-being within the population of the place.
Yes, I agree. And sometimes this great profit go to the headquarters of the companies, and then the people that they are living here, they don't collect this money, no? They don't receive this money, and it's something that it could happen. Eh? Look in this is the evolution. I mean, where we have, I think is. Challenge, you know. Well, I have a graph that shows the evolution of the money than the 10% richest in Spain and the 10% that is in. Find it. I don't find. I have to look for. But basically, is how the 10% of the richest people in Spain is increasing the percentage of the wellness that we have in the country, and this is a gap that have reduced in the last year, but is now start to be higher. So this profit don't go top down to the people, and of course we need the commitment of the people, and the people decide what is the future that they want to have in La Palma in the future. And now I think that is a good moment because sometimes, I mean, the people need at the beginning what is the basic, something like the Maslow, no? So you need housing, you have jobs, you have to survive after the volcano. Now, once you cover the situation, or you are trying to cover the situation, that is the moment to decide, okay, what can we do in the future in order to improve? What we can do in a country, in an area where we have important unemployment rate. For example, well, here you see this is the population between 25 and 34 years, but this is in Spain. And the first line is the higher education, university studies. The second one is the secondary, I mean the high school. And last but not least, you have in the third line the basic student. What is the problem? And in La Palma, even the number are higher. I mean the percentage that you have on your right with the different islands. The La Palma is this one. You can see here the first step are low student levels, and on the right the higher student level. What we need, what kind of education we need in La Palma? Where is our, because unemployment is very high. What can we do about education? This will be another point to work.
We have worked in some strategic guidelines about this. We say that maybe we have to diversify the vocational courses because they are very focused on agriculture and tourism.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of kind of different jobs, but people don't get these jobs because the vocational courses and higher superior education.
But which kind of jobs?
Which kind? Scientists, engineers, yes, about innovation, this kind of jobs.
And do you think that now the situation with the e-work, the possibility to work here is an opportunity? This is maybe the way. Yes, exactly. This is one of our advantages. So another project that we are working is to invest in investment that will be help to work from La Palma, I mean internet connection in the north of La Palma, because La Palma have another problem that is this one. What is this one? Tell me about the lack of population. What happened here? This is the city halls, I mean the municipalities, that they are losing population in Spain between 2010 and 2019. How is it possible that La Palma is in blue? What do you think? Because you see that inside the country, it's happening in Spain, but it's also happening in other countries. In Germany, for example, they have problems the same with the population. More in the East German, there are areas that have the same problem. It's general. People focus to go to the big cities. I don't know in the States if we have the same problem or not. But maybe most of the country people decide to go to the big cities. But look, there are areas, I mean the coast, that they have not this problem. I mean like Catalonia, even in the Balearic Island, the south of Andalusia, even in the Canaries, the population in the Canaries is increasing. Tenerife have a problem of this because it's almost 1 million people living on Iceland and have problem with the connection, with a very traffic jam in the motorways. But look what happened with La Palma. How is possible that La Palma is painted in blue? Or what we can do? Or maybe you have to go to the north of La Palma, like Punta Gorda, Tijarafe, and Cadafia, they are losing population. What is the risk of this, and how we can solve this problem?
I think it's about the dispersion of the houses, because we don't have access to the services and infrastructure. So maybe to change the model of how the village are building.
Yeah, okay.
It's one of the ways.
Good.
Land management?
Land management, exactly. People that this kind of land you need to enter against in the market to make it attractive to invest in this land, like agriculture or tourism or whatever. What else? What else can we do to avoid this problem? Because if people decided to go out from these cities, from these towns, maybe it's a problem for the people that remain in this town because there are not enough people to make a hospital or to have a more frequency of buses to go, the transportation. So this is another kind of challenge that we have to now with the volcano, with the extra money that we have in the investment, we can work. So in conclusion, things that we can do here, a challenge that we are working. One challenge is the productivity, to improve the productivity not only in the Canaries, not only in Spain, but also mainly in La Palma, in order to, because it's not, look, the prediction in Spain is that between 2023 2050, the GDP could grow between 0.3, 1 to 1%. It is the evolution. Not next year. Next year the prediction is 2.5%, but the idea is that it will remain steady. So, and not, it was 2% that it was at the beginning of this century. This is one of the challenges that we want to work. Another challenge is the education, that is very, very important, to improve the education level mainly in La Palma, and to focus in areas that where will be easy to find a job and to change the kind of labor market. Another challenge that we are working is the requalification of the workforce. This is important because, and something that you are doing, in my opinion, great, because what's happening in Spain, you study a lot, or many areas during the university, but once you finish the university, you never study again. So the education is something, it's not a planet obsolescence, because planet is not the word, but basically with the number of years you need to study again and you need to recycle. Maybe now, because with the new technology, the kind of work will change. No? Here another is the welfare state of a longer life society. The population is increasing. In La Palma, not increasing, but the average age is increasing, and it means that people need to go more to the hospital and to spend more in another kind of things that we need to have. Look, in 2050, if nothing happens, ceteris paribus, 1 of 3 people in Spain will be 65 or over. And our dependency rate will be 60%. In other words, there will not be enough people to help all people, and will be a real problem. No? This is a rate of dependency and how it's increasing a lot. Another challenge is the balanced, fair and sustainable territorial development, and this is your field, and this is the opportunity in which La Palma, we have maintained the island until now in very more or less good condition, and this is the opportunity even to improve and not to become something like another areas that were made in the 70s with another regulation, something like the south of Tenerife or the south of Gran Canaria. Here we can do it quite better, but they have done in another island, but now we have this opportunity. Another is the labor market failures, and to try to solve and to improve these areas, and to become something like a island of the science. Another is to reduce the poverty and inequality. That is a very important problem in Spain. This is one of the last questions. What we can do about this? The poverty rate in the Canaries is very high. This is called a rate that is called AOPE. And in Spain, this rate is one of the worst countries. The Canaries is one of the worst areas. And in Canaries, La Palma is not great, have not great number. What we can do in order to avoid this? Because the poverty in La Palma is very high. On the other hand, with the help of the families, friends, there are not very important expenses, more or less people can survive. Black market, any kind of help, more or less people can survive, but the poverty rate is too high in the Canaries and in La Palma. What can we do to avoid this? What kind of actions can we do to reduce the poverty?
I think it's not just one action, because the poverty index is related to a lot of circumstances,
exactly.
Housing, services, education, employment. So I think we will need to take an integral action of a lot of input. So
Okay, good.
yeah, it's not,
There's a
it's not
consequence
easy.
of many,
It's not easy.
many points.
Very good question.
What to do, no?
What to do? You will get a Nobel Prize.
This is
No, I just wanted to like build on what Yamita said, that I think mainly that diversification of the economy that brings in high-paying jobs. Right now it's like more like on the lower end, and a combination of affordable housing made available by the government. Investment in affordable housing. So those two things can help reduce poverty.
It will help. By the way, this was what I said before about the evolution of the 10% richest in Spain, and this is the wage that they have in the wellness of the countries. So 30 years ago, the 10% have the 60% of the money of the country. It has reduced in the last 20 years, and it is increasing. And if we don't do nothing, this is if we implement measures in order to solve this problem. But if not, it will increase, and maybe 2050, according with different research, will remain the 70% of the wellness and it increase the poverty. So we have to find this not easy solution, but will be consequence of another solutions in order to reduce this gap. And
will it be chance for us to ask you some questions about your perspectives
my perspective?
on different things? We would love to ask you.
Yes, I mean, how to...
Probably finish there, the challenge, and we ask many different things to people that are interested in has their ideas and their answers.
Okay.
What about giving regular people the opportunity to participate, for example, in geothermal projects through energy communities, participating also by Cabildo and municipalities, instead of giving the opportunity just to companies? I mean,
that's right.
People appreciate the project differently if they have the opportunity to participate in and to get returns from it.
There will be, until I know, this one of the offer to compete in this kind of process to develop the geothermal is an initiative that is 50% of the Cabildo through a company that is called Sodepal, that is 100% from the Cabildo, and the other came from different local companies. Local companies. So this is a market, this is a concurso, so the winner will win, but this is one of the auction. There were auction, but probably the problem is that to fix in the Spanish legislation. That will be to what you are telling, that I think that is example of Azores. Azores is making for a local company, insular company, and all the profit that came from the geothermal have to invest in the island. So this is not any payout of dividends that you receive as an investor, but on the other hand, the island is quite better. So there are different options, and this is a way to use this profit in the land where the energy came. And I finish because it's more or less the time, but basically, well, see here is the evolution of the money, and you realize that the salaries are low, no? And this is an important challenge. And just last but not least is the sustainable island, that is your field, and this what we can do. There are things that we cannot control, that is the anticyclone of the Azores. And if this is any kind of movement of the anticyclone of the Azores, will be a real problem for the Canaries. We can become something like Cabo Verde, I mean, will be Iceland like Lanzarote, Fuerteventura, and for La Palma will be a problem because we base our model in a good environment, in agriculture, and in this scenario, we have to think about way to help the production of water that we have in the island, maybe with water that came from the sea. I mean, to desalinate water and to compensate, just in case we will start with the change of the climate in this situation. So, in conclusion, these are more or less the challenge that we are working from the Spanish government, that they are according with the process of Spain 2050, that is where the country is working. La Palma is part of Spain, so more or less we are aligned with the same challenge. Of course, here we have seen that they are specifically from the island. So I appreciate the working that you are doing. Tomorrow, the project that you have work, because these ideas is something that, at least from the Spanish government, we want to analyze, and because you have a different point of view, very complementary point of view about what we need. Something when you are focused too much in an area, you lose the general vision, so you are focused in the tree and not in the forest, and you have this point of view, and this is a unique opportunity for us. We can change the island to improve, to do it even better, in the future, to create something that will be unique. And something that for me I think is an opportunity also is that if we make a reconstruction, great reconstruction, quite better than it was in the other two big disasters that we have in Spain, Lorca, it was an earthquake, and Prestige, that was problem with oil because a boat sank in front of the coast of Galicia. If we make something different, this model we can copy and paste in other areas of the European Union. And this reconstruction, at the same time, move money from the Spanish companies. I mean, this Spain can be the leadership in Europe when it will be a disaster and the European Union try to help. It will be at the same time good for the Spanish company and for the Spanish economy. And unfortunately, and probably with the climate change, there are plenty of disasters every year. We have a earthquake in Assis, in Italy, or in Turkey, and we have plenty of problems. So this is an opportunity to make something different, and if this is successful, to try to copy or to influence in another areas of the European Union. So thank you for your time. Whatever you need, I will be here. That's all. Okay.
Thank you very much, Héctor, for being with us, sharing all your ideas, vision, and programs, also about the Palma Spanish program. Thank you so much. And perhaps there is any question that you can do. Ben, please.
I'll wait for the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. So I have a bit of a comment to be followed by a question. And when you're talking about sort of copying these activities and these implementations elsewhere, it just makes me pause a little bit to recognize that each place is somehow unique, and so everything has to be slightly adapted. And that feeds into the question, which is how these developments are really going to be unique to La Palma and maybe implemented or decided or participated by La Palma, with the support, of course, of Canary Islands region, national Spain government, or even the EU, but really that the decision-making power, I guess, and the choices that are made are from La Palma, to help the people here, the community to succeed and to grow, and also the project to succeed.
Yes, the participation, as I said before, is critical, and the decision can come from people of La Palma. They have to choose the kind of island that they want to have. They have to decide the future. Fortunately, we live in a democracy, and the people are not happy, people can decide. And of course, this is the way. I did hear this an area that is very interesting, that probably you know, what is called Revivir el Valle. Maybe one day Azu Azuake came here, and he's helping in the way to attract the idea from the people and to collect, and he and his team helped me a lot in order to say, Héctor, go to more to this way or more to another way, because it's the people that people need. Here the problem sometimes is to balance between what we need in the short term and what we need in the long term. Sometimes university, and I said as part-time professor in the past. No? Now we live in the long term. No? Sometimes in university we think in the future. That is good. This is the idea of the university, to see in the future. In a political point of view, people used to think in the short term. Maybe almost 4 years or no. So the focus is more in the short term. And so this mix between the vision of the university in the long term, the vision of the people that they live here, they want to have something not for them, but also for their children, their grandchildren, and at the same time, yes, to make this short and long term will be the big challenge to make something good, because I mean it's a small island. We don't have the possibilities. We made mistake to move to another island. I remember in Guatemala. I was working in Guatemala. The former capital of Guatemala was Antigua. No, now it's called Antigua. Antigua has suffered several earthquakes, and they decided to move the capital to Ciudad of Guatemala. No, Guatemala City is now the capital, and Antigua was the old capital. Now it's a very nice place to go. But they can move to another place. They say, no, this place is very risky. We move the capital to another place. But it was because they were in a huge continent that it was America. Here we don't have another place to move. And here, if we make a mistake, there is not a way to solve this mistake. So this is the great challenge that probably we have.
To what extent have you explored social enterprise? Because I hear you're saying we need the companies, and you have a bid and a competition, and I hear the short, long term, and I hear what Matthias is saying, that in my opinion, just being transparent, I think there should only be one winner, and it's the people in La Palma, and the companies of La Palma should get 20 more points in the bid automatically, so that they're ahead of the game. But I understand that's not always the reality. And there's models called social enterprise that weds both of these ideas. And I'm wondering if in that process there's been any exploration of these cutting edge approaches that balance everything, and how you've thought about that.
I see your point. Here the problem is sometimes with the legislation or the regulation in Spain. So sometimes you can do things made by local people to socialize the profit between the people, among the people, but at the same time it's difficult, according with the legislation, try to help any local company. Even when you can say, okay, it's good because there are employees that are here and this profit can go back to the people of the party. We are in a market, there are rules, and sometimes, I mean, it's not easy. Fortunately, for the island, is the distance with the mainland. It's 2,000 kilometers, and it's made that there are many local companies. There are not many multinational companies. You can do things, but it's difficult. Mainly because the money came from the state, I mean, from the government, and the process have to be focused to everybody, even in the European Union, according with the amount of money that you want to spend. So you have this kind of balance to socialize the profit of the different measures, and at the same time to make it in a market, free market, where we are not only in Spain but also in the European Union.
But in the reality, it is not justice, and the law is not for every company, because local company cannot compete with the prices with a large company. So
my recommendation is to make, and I don't know the translation, you can say me, what is a UTE? UTE, you know, UTE would be a temporary union of companies, of enterprise, where you have a local company that knows the market and a big company that have the financial resources to invest, and at the same time the knowledge. For example, this motorway that I put in the video was down from the government, from the Ministry of Transportation, and a company where worked two companies. One of them was Dragados, so this is a multinational company. The other was Sasir, but Sasir was making the Panama Canal, we have increased, no? And they were engineers that they were working there. I mean, there is a very good knowledge of people that you can attract in a multinational. What they did is to make this kind of UTE, this union temporary with local companies, and everybody can to help and to give the knowledge. Here you can see in areas where the knowledge is in La Palma, in the Canaries, for example. Things about the volcano, the geothermal. You have in Volcan, you have very good people working there. You have the IGN, what this is national. I mean, you have the knowledge here. But you have another areas where you need to attract this knowledge, and sometimes even from another countries. For example, Iceland, Italy. One example, Puerto Nao. You know, Puerto Nao, La Bombilla, there are gases, and it's not allowed to live there. We are looking for example of another countries like Italy, with the Iceland of Volcano, about what they are doing there in order to copy and paste or to improve in Puerto Nao. So you have to balance this knowledge at the same time, local companies and the economy of the island, and at the same time, the most important, according to the regulation and the laws of in a free market where we live inside the European Union. I'm going to give you my email, so any ideas, anything that you need, you can tell me, or whatever you need, I will be. So I will write here very quick my email.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Izquierdo. It has been a great presa. Many interesting ideas for us to recycle and to get into our project. We are very happy to work with you, and we will work with you in the reconstruction of La Palma in this vision to move forward the island towards a sustainable island. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This is my email. This is Izquierdo@MPR is Minister of Presidency.es. So whatever you need, you can write me. And if I see you again, I hope you spend time in the Canaries, and for people come back to La Palma, and not only now but also in the future, and you realize how I hope the island have improved, and in this improvement you have a percentage of this success of La Palma.